All right, good stuff. Acknowledging course with Audrey on there, ZS6 JFK and ZS6 SNY. Any other check-ins, ZS6 OPS, standing by. Okay, 1902, ZS6 OPS still standing by for further check-ins. And I have a feeling the outside temperature is lying to me because it says 25 degrees on one of my applications. I'm sure it's more like 35 degrees. ZS6 OPS. Okay, somebody else is keen up. Let's see who's out there. ZS6 OPS still standing by.
I nearly made a fool out of myself. I bought these headset and it doesn't want to work at all, no matter what I try. And I was on the point of sending them back. Then my finger by accident touched a little volume knob on the headphone, and they didn't work.
Where'd you get them? Take a lot. Well, at least they got a pretty good return policy. You could have claimed intermittent fault. Okay, 1904. Second last call for check-in. ZS6 OPS standing by. Last call for check-ins. ZS6 OPS still standing by. Okay, nothing else heard. Good evening, everybody. Firstly, for those that wish to join this net using Zoom, you may do so now. Zoom is open. And if you don't have the Zoom link, please contact me on WhatsApp 082-859-2684. That's 082-859-2684. And I'll send you the link with the greatest of pleasure. So greetings to one and all, and welcome to this week's net. Today is Sunday, 15 January 2020, and the time is 19:05. Speak of the devil. Right, ZS6 OPS returning. We begin the weekly net with the radio amateur check-ins on the Rupert repeater for 5 minutes before proceeding. This net is broadcast every Sunday evening starting at 1900 and is broadcast for the benefit of radio amateurs, disaster relief CERT volunteers, and members of the general public and other interested parties. Everyone is welcome to participate using either amateur radio or Zoom, or both if you wish. I would also like to remind all amateur radio listeners who have not checked in that you do not need to be a member of any group or club to check in or to use the repeater or any of the amateur radio bands. All that is required from you is that you have a valid amateur radio license issued by ICASA, which automatically grants you the right to use any of the amateur bands at any time. There is no need to ask for or be granted permission from anyone else in order to use the repeaters or the amateur radio bands, despite what you may be told. Please do not be intimidated by those comments. I'd also like to encourage everyone to share the Zoom link used for the Weekly Net with everyone they know throughout South Africa. Doing so will help us grow the Weekly Net and will contribute to disseminating information as far and wide as possible. All right, it's time to unpack the weekly COVID-19 figures. And just to acknowledge, I think it's George. George, your video's off, joining us on Zoom. Unpacking COVID-19 globally, the figures are at 666,786,415, compared to last week's figure of 663 million. We therefore see an increase of 2.8 million new cases in this last week compared to 3.3 million reported in the previous week. That's 500,000 less cases. And I have a feeling that that may very well be due to the decrease in cases that China has reported this week. So 488 decreased compared to the previous week's 42,000. The death toll globally is now at 6.7 million compared to last week's 6.7 million. Maybe I should broaden that a bit. 6,722,000 compared to 6,706,000. It's an increase of 16,000 deaths compared to the increase of 15,000 in the previous week. So where we've seen the total numbers come down, the death toll has sort of remained the same and equal to the previous week. South Africa's figures, on the other hand, have seen a decrease in new cases for the week ending 6 January 2023. And now you must just bear in mind that we did go through a three-week period where NRCD did not in actual fact do any of the reporting per se. This week, a total of 626 new cases were reported, which, funny enough, they now released the figures for the previous week of 956 cases. That also is a decrease in 330. The positivity rate was at 8,600, but it seems like there were about 12,000 tests done in the previous week. So the testing levels are not very high at the moment in time. Now, due to NRCD not releasing figures, it's become rather difficult to track the total number of South African deaths. So I'm not going to be including any of that this week. Now, moving on to Mpox. Mpox is sitting at 84,639 cases as at the 12th of January. Compared to the 84,000 of the previous week, which is an increase of 309. However, in the week before that, the increase actually was 579. So we see, and it could very well be due to the holiday season that reporting, testing, and everything has declined or decreased. South Africa to date still stands at 5 cases. no further cases have been reported. However, the current outbreak of measles is becoming concerning, and I will, as I said last week, include this in the weekly figures on the Weekly Net in the interest of public health. As at 12 January 2023, South Africa has 371 cases of measles compared to the last week's total of 318 cases. That's an increase of 7 new cases week on week. Limpopo is still reporting the highest number of cases, now standing at 140, followed by the Northwest with 114. However, Gauteng has to date got 16 new cases. World Health News. World Health this week has actually recommended the use of masks by the public in specific situations with regards to COVID-19. And this update recommends their use irrespective of the local situation, given the current spread of COVID-19 globally. Masks are recommended following a recent exposure to COVID-19 when someone has or suspects they have COVID-19, or when someone is at high risk of severe COVID-19, or for anyone in a crowded, enclosed, or poorly ventilated space. Similar to previous recommendations, the World Health Organization advises that there are other instances where a mask may be suggested based on a risk assessment. Factors to consider include the local trends or rise in hospitalization levels, levels of vaccination coverage, and immunity in the community, and then also the setting people find themselves in. Now, last week, South Africa reported that it had discovered the new XBB 1.5 variant, and some news reports this week have in actual fact indicated or stated that it is believed that this variant will become the dominant variant in all new COVID-19 cases in South Africa. So we'll just have to monitor this closely moving forward. ZS6OPS returning. Now, with regards to the death toll following the LPG tanker blast in Boksburg on the 24th of December, currently 42 people have lost their lives. There are still several undergoing treatment resulting from the burns received. And of course, those of us coming out of the paramedical background, we know that the burn is not what kills one, but the post-burn infection that sets in is the dangerous side of being a burn victim. Sure, some burns at the time can take you out quite quickly. You can lose your life immediately. But once hospitalized with a burn, of course, that post-burn infection is what I'm referring to. So let's hope that those that are still hospitalized will recover with no further loss to life. There's also reports that 4 people are still missing. They are unaccounted for within the community, and we'll have to see how that one pans out. Right, ZS6OPS returning. So finally, in closing, I'd like to encourage everyone to register as a disaster relief cert volunteer. I say that to radio amateurs and, of course, spread the word. It's not only, or at least disaster relief cert is not only for radio amateurs. It is far from it. Spread the word to other friends, family, colleagues at work, etc., so that we can get teams prepared to assist during times of disaster, which is our primary and sole and let me just rephrase that. Our sole and principal objective is to prepare volunteers to be able to provide assistance during times of disasters or when disaster strikes. If there are any other amateur radio listeners who have not yet checked in, please provide your call sign now and I'll add you to this week's check-in list. ZS6OPS standing by. All right, so no further check-ins. I'd like to thank all those who have checked in this week, as well as those who have joined via Zoom. And as the COVID-19 pandemic is still ongoing and still infecting millions weekly, please remember to physically distance yourself and to wear a mask in order to protect others, especially the elderly who could lose their lives if infected with COVID-19. Remember that this is always best, that it is always best to sanitize your hands on a regular basis in any event. For the week moving forward, be safe, be prepared, and of course, be happy. This is ZS6OPS now releasing 145.625 for general use. Cheers all.